We want to talk a little more about driving in the rain. You'll want to make sure you are carrying the essentials you need in the event of an emergency when driving through inclement weather. Justina is here with us now to kind of walk us through, have this conversation with us.
Yeah.
I know, for many people are probably asking, why are they talking about this? We know this, but this is the thing. It's a great reminder, right?
Yeah.
And so often, during inclement weather, we see the number of crashes shoot up.
Exactly.
And so, we do have to have this conversation, and we're going to have it, and we're going to talk about it to keep all of us safe.
Exactly.
Good morning.
So good morning. It's so important, and I know it becomes repetitive, but as Anthony said, there could be possible flooding too. So we do have to talk about what you need to do if you get caught in it, and what you need to do if you're just driving in the rain in general and come across a few accidents. So let's take a look at those graphics that I have up. So this graphic you guys have probably seen before, but it doesn't hurt to show it to you again. So 6 inches of moving water can knock you off of your feet. Only 6 inches. That's really not a lot, folks. 1 foot of moving water can carry your car away, and at least 2 feet can carry your SUV away. And we know that the water sometimes, especially when it's raining hard, it tends to rise quickly.
Yeah.
So what do you do if you're caught in flooding and you're in your car? Well, first off, stay calm. Don't start screaming. And I mean, I know it's easy to just go crazy, right? But we got to stay calm so we can think effectively. If it's low water, leave your car and get to higher ground. Now, lower your windows slowly and climb out. Braking should be your absolutely last resort. We know if the water is rising quickly and you start breaking windows, it could go into your car even quicker if you're not getting out quick enough. And then if your car is swept into flood water, what do? You point. Actually, if you are swept into floodwater, say you're outside your car, but you somehow end up just flowing downstream or down the road somewhere, point your feet downstream to go over any road debris, because when it floods, it's not just water, right? It's branches. It could be other cars floating around. It could be any type of trash or anything in someone's yard, trash cans. So make sure you point your feet in the direction of the stream itself. And if you're stranded above water and you get to a place safe, stay where you are and wait for help. If you call the police, just make sure you give them your most recent location if you don't know where you are, or your exact location if you have a landmark. Okay, and here's this list that we were getting to, Zach. So if there's an emergency, or if there's, just bad weather and you're not near that flooding, but you are where that heavy rain is, make sure you have a flashlight in your car. Batteries. We know batteries are helpful just for any type of electronics you have in the car. And nowadays we all have iPhones, so a portable charger would be helpful. Jumper cables, of course, you can't go without those. An emergency whistle. Imagine if the lights go out or if there's flooding, having that whistle can be very helpful for first responders to find you. A first aid kit is always very important. You just never know when the weather is crazy what could happen to you, your family member, or even your furry friends if they're in the car with you. And food and money is also another important factor. Let's say the highway gets shut down because of a crash while you're on the road. You need food, some snacks in the car to kind of get you by. And then money. Zach, I remember I learned about the money one recently, right? If you get to a gas station
and it's out of power, you can't use the credit card machine to pump your fuel.
Exactly.
Yeah. Also, too, I would maybe say it's not a bad idea to have H2O, right? Like not a container. What do they call it?
Just even a bottle of water.
Yeah, a bottle of water. But and so I think that's all really, really, really great information, good reminders for us. I also love that first graphic, and I know I loved how you prefaced, hey, I'm sure you guys have seen this before because you have, but it is a good reminder. And when we talk about rising water, oftentimes too, there's a current with that. So not only are we talking about water that's rising, but we're also talking about the force that comes with some sort of current. The water's coming from somewhere, right?
Exactly.
And so to keep in mind that water is moving at a rate. I think back to that woman who did not listen to firefighters out in Montgomery County when we were on scene. I don't know if it was Rochelle out there. We had a photographer and a reporter, and she did not adhere to what they were saying, and she drove her Toyota sedan right into the water and blocked she had to be rescued, and then she blocked the route for emergency responders to get to in high water vehicles.
Yeah,
It was
a lot of
mess.
people look at it and they're like, oh, I got this, I can do this. But in fact, you don't.
You're putting yourself at risk, and you're also putting others at risk. And we say it all the time. It's cliche. Turn around. Do not drown. But we say it for a reason, too.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing here is instead of having to worry about having, all of these items or having an escape plan for your car, just stay off the roads.
Yeah.
Stay off the roads, stay safe, stay home, stay in a shelter that is going to get you to safety, and just don't try to risk it because it's not worth it.
Yeah. And if you have tips and suggestions that you've had to use or that have been helpful for you in those emergency situations, let us know. Let Justina know. That's how she got the money suggestion, right? It was from
tips. People writing me in and telling me what they've done. I know even working in Nashville. So Nashville has a lot of severe weather, a lot of hurricanes, a lot of tornadoes. Tornadoes are a big one, not hurricanes.
Yeah, they've
tornadoes.
been hit hard these past few years with
and
tornadoes.
When I worked there were probably about 3 tornadoes in the two-year span that I worked in Nashville. And I remember my first month working there. I did a story after a major flood of a husband and wife. The wife was about 8 months pregnant, so she was big.
Yeah.
And the floodwaters got to the ceiling of their home in the middle of the night. So they had to swim out of their home and onto a neighbor's roof. And the husband had to pull his wife onto the roof because she's
8
pregnant.
months pregnant.
Yeah. And the way they described it to me, they were like, it's pitch black. The water is moving fast.
that current.
And there's debris. So imagine a pregnant woman trying to swim through debris, and there's cars floating around. So the best thing you guys can do is to be prepared if you do head out.
I'm glad to hear, though, that they chose to get out and not go up into the attic. So often we see people doing that, right? And then they're trapped in that space and they can't get out. So, wow. I mean, these stories, they're very scary, but they're extremely serious. And and hopefully we're here to talk about them so that nobody has to find themselves in those sorts of situations.
Yeah.
Okay, you brought some things with us?
I did, just a few things. We know that tape is always helpful to patch up holes. I know tape sounds so simple. But
sound like I'm a grandfather now with duct tape.
You got some heavy duty tape.
choice.
It's not just for your husband's lips, guys. Right. It's for your car too. A gas can is always important. If you don't have an electric vehicle and you have a traditional car like me, keep a gas can in your car. You never know where you'll have to kind of walk and kind of get that done. And we also have washer fluid. Yeah.
Oh, washer fluid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's Rain-X. Yeah.
But it's Rain-X, right? So this is important, especially when it's raining. And then we know this handy dandy tool is always important, especially if you have a flat tire. So just these items and jumper cables will be very helpful if you do have to go out. And
this is a good reminder. I'm glad you brought in the washer fluid because this tells me too, you should be checking your wipers to make sure they're still in check. There's nothing worse than having wipers that aren't getting the job done,
getting
right?
the job done,
in the middle of a rainstorm.
And get your car checked too, especially when you hear there's some type of severe weather. Make sure you have your maintenance up to date because I just hate to be in a situation where your car breaks down because things aren't running smoothly.
Yeah. All really good information that we need to be talking about, especially ahead of this inclement weather moving to the metro later this afternoon.
All right.
Okay, Justina, thank you very much.